Hey guys, what's going on? In this video, we're going to be checking out the NECA Toys Batman Returns Epic Movie Collectors 1/4 scale Catwoman. Now, this being a 1/4 scale figure, it's going to be a lot taller than some of the standard NECA toy figure reviews that you probably have seen on this channel. This stands at almost 16.5 inches tall. Her head goes to roughly about 16, just about 16.25, but then the ears will take it to about 16.5. She includes a display base, which is actually a small stand. I'll just unpeg it from her foot. And you can see it's almost the same sort of stands that we've seen with some of the earlier released NECA toys. I wish that they had actually given you 2 stands. You do need it. You play yourself a lot of times balancing the figure. Like, I can get her to stand right now, but she's a little on the wobbly side. 2 stands I think could have gone a long way. They give you one. One I think is the bare minimum of to what you would need for assistance to stand her up. If you place her foot roughly about in the middle area of the stand, it does give her a lot of extra clearance, because those heels, let me just show you how the heels look. There's very little footprint that's actually touching the surface of wherever you're displaying her. A very small area in the front, and an especially small area at the back with the high heel. The stand goes a long way of giving you some extra footprint. 2 could have, again, gone a long way. 1, I think, is much needed, because if not, I would worry that a figure this tall may topple over from time to time if you didn't have that. Now, something that's rather interesting is when you get her in box, they actually have defaulted the head as the one that is already ripped away, or you can see the side of the cowl has been ripped away, exposing some of Catwoman's blonde hair underneath. I quite like this head sculpt, especially like the fact that her mouth is open. It definitely reads Michelle Pfeiffer, like without any doubt. That looks like Michelle Pfeiffer. I love the sheen to the kind of faux leather that they've given. Well, it's kind of made out, well, she's made it out of like a raincoat, but so it's got that nice, just shiny texture to it, and you can see all those little white stitches. It's clearly a Tim Burton design. No doubts at all about that. But I like how you can see like all those little seams that have been ripped open and just stretched out of the way, where you've got all the kind of real doll hair that's kind of sticking out from the cowl. The skin tone is pale, but I mean, really, that's Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. She has a very pale skin complexion, which reads very well here on the figure. The eyes are done nice in a very piercing ice blue. You can see her eyebrows, and they've got a dark outlining around her eyes. She's also got a very bright lipstick. And again, nice sculpting on the teeth. You can also see the tongue there as well. It's just, again, a beautiful, beautiful looking head sculpt. Now, if you want something a little bit more traditional, they also give you a regular Catwoman head too. Doesn't have the hair, doesn't have anything sticking out of it. I have to admit though, I'm not as keen on this face sculpt as I am with this one. This one is a much nicer looking, and I almost think a more accurate looking Michelle Pfeiffer head sculpt than this one right here. This one kind of reminds me of the scene where her and Penguin are in the room. He's got the canary, he has the canary she ends up putting in her mouth, and he's laying on the bed. She's kind of got that defeated look on her face, which again is okay, but I think I would have preferred something a little bit more serious in nature. Like, I really like how the eyebrows are down and the mouth is like that on that particular head sculpt. This one again just is a little bit more calmer. It's still got some great stitching and sculpt work to the cowl around her. I wish there was actually a way that, they would never do this just because this is one solid sculpt, but I wish there was a way like you could have somehow taken the mouth out and replaced it with that mouth, or somehow done something with the eyes. But understanding the way that, you know, the way that the sculpts work, they couldn't have done that. I really like this head sculpt, but I like this head sculpt so much more. Here's what that head sculpt looks like on her body. Again, it's not a bad sculpt, but I find it's just not a great expression that they could have given her. Even like the expression that when she first comes out and introduces herself to Batman and Penguin, or even when she stops the attacker in the alleyway, like that kind of, those expressions I think would have been perfect for this particular head sculpt. This head sculpt, again, just kind of reads like the defeated Catwoman now planning out how to destroy the Batman along with Penguin. It's a great head sculpt, but I think it's not as good. Once again, we'll bring in the haired version of Catwoman. That one I think is just such a nicer looking head sculpt. So let's have a look at Catwoman's costume here, which, as you can see, already starting to show signs a little bit more closer to how she looks at the end of the movie, where you see a lot of the seams now ripping open on her handmade costume. Predominantly here in the shoulder area and in the chest area, you can see a lot of those rips. I love that this is like these little separate threads that they've sculpted. Well, they didn't sculpt these, they've just glued them in there. I like how they've added just a sense that this is a real costume. Could have just easily left it out, but really nice touch. Again, the ripped open areas of the thigh, the costume, around the waist area. There's the back of her. Love that it's a shiny plastic until really you get down to the boots, and the boots are more of a matte black. But the sheen really helps sell this. There is the halter topper, or the bustier top, stitched up at the back. Now these are not real ropes or little cording. It is sculpted in to the sculpt of the bodice, or you know, the halter topper. I think it's like a bustier top there, but some nice stitching there as well. It breaks up a little bit of that sheen as well. That makes up the predominantly most, if not all, her body. It does a great job of kind of breaking that up. Now this feels like it's a little softer of a rubber versus, of course, the density of the rest of her body here. Getting a look at her hands, I really love just the crude way that she came up with these claws. Now, I think she made use of like seam rippers, because she was like a seamstress. Like she had a sewing machine and all the tools of what a seamstress would have. I have seen very few seam rippers that look like this, but it's basically just like a thrown together series of different claws, and I love that. It's one of the cooler aspects of Catwoman, was the fact that like there was no sense that she really designed out the costume. She basically she came home, she had an idea in her head. Hey, I've got a raincoat, let's cut it up and let's crudely throw together a Catwoman costume. And specifically things like the claws are done so nicely here with a gunmetal gray, and you've got some real nice metallic silvers being made use of here. Very, very nice. And you can see there's the interior stitching of her hands. When you get her out of packaging as well, her hand, one hand is open, like a claw hand, and then the other one is partially closed, ideal for holding her whip. She does also come with a couple of other hands as well. Now this kind of looks like the hand where she goes like this and somehow extends out those claw points. And then she's also got another one here where she's pointing. Where again you can see like all those cool individual, just where would you go to get stuff like this? Fabricland? I don't even know if Fabricland is in the States, but we have a Fabricland here in Canada. I really like this. Let's talk her other accessories. She does come also with her whip, and a nice decision on NECA's part. They wired the interior of the actual whip. So the whip you can actually bend. Probably do a better job than me, but you can actually frame it and hinge it until you've got the desired look that you want. You can have something a little bit more extended where she's using it, or you could kind of have it wrapped maybe around her waist as well as an option. She also gets her taser there, which looks really nice. And you know what? It's one of those things, I didn't even realize that there was a face on the taser. For some reason, I just didn't see it. But some nice paint work there. Minimum paint work other than just really the face and the prongs on the end of the taser. Now there is a hook, and I'm looking around on the figure. I don't see a section where this hooks into place. Assuming, I guess, unless the idea was the taser is supposed to go on a belt in real world application. Simply just because it has a hook here does not necessarily mean it should actually tab anywhere onto the figure, because I'm looking around, I don't see a section. I don't see a section where this can hook into place. So I'm actually thinking it's based more so just on the fact that a real taser would have had that little hook, something that could sit on a belt. This figure just simply doesn't have the means to hold it other than in her hands. So let's look at Catwoman's articulation. Her head rotates all the way around, as well as a hinge up and down. The shoulders hinge outward. It's basically everything you would expect for a 7-inch figure, just much larger. And sometimes through being a much larger figure, you'll find like the joints are a little stiffer to manipulate. She does have a double hinge in the elbow, as well as a rotation and a hinge on the hand. When you get to the upper torso, the torso is on a ball joint, and one of the reasons as well why this bodice is likely rubber, because it gives you a little bit extra crunch at the lower portion and the top portion of the torso. When it comes to her legs are stiff, I will admit. They have a ratcheted joint, which is nice, so you can move them outward, but it doesn't seem like you can really move them forward or back. They're really limited in that regards. She does also have a double hinge on the knee, a hinge here and a hinge here. And she does also have not only an ankle pivot, you can also move her feet back and forth. One of the problems as well, because she has an ankle pivot, the one particular foot that I've had her standing on the circular display stand with is teetering a little back and forth, which doesn't help for the stability of getting the figure to properly stand. I so adore you, 1/4 scale Catwoman from NECA. Great job, once again, by producing a lot of these 1/4 scale stuff. That's the stuff that really is impressing fans lately, especially with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1/4 scale figures. Wow. Catwoman here, equally so, done very well. It makes me really wish that I could have gone and picked up Penguin, which now I might actually think, despite the fact I'm not too keen on the 1/4 scale, just simply due to their size, this is enough to make me now think, okay, you know what, I might have to go get myself a Penguin. The figure as a whole is great. I have to honestly admit, I'm not as keen on the interchangeable head as I am the head that she comes out of the box with. The hair coming out, I would have preferred maybe as this head sculpt, but nonetheless, it's still a great looking figure. I probably will end up posing her with the taser in her hand, and now she can have a kiss from you, Sandy Claus. Again, a great looking piece. The only other nitpick I probably could make about the figure, other than the fact that the interchangeable head is a slight letdown, is that I wish that she had proper footing. Maybe 2 of these disc display stands on either side would help for a little bit more of the stability. But all in all, a great looking piece overall. Today we were checking out the NECA toys. This was the Batman Returns 1/4 scale Catwoman. So good of a figure, in fact. I'm looking forward to putting her out on display. Probably will do that right after this video. If you guys like this video, certainly hit it with a like. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that little subscribe button down below. You're good to go. You're also a fan of NECA, you say? Well, there's a whole playlist on this channel as well where you can check out all the other NECA reviews that I've ever done. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. See you next time.